I hadn't ridden much really in the last couple of years, to be honest. I built the bike and it just sort of sat in the garage. I got the odd ride out here and there, but nothing major. But at that point, I had a companion that I was quite happy to give all of my spare time to. I guess I'd kind of fallen out of love with biking, if you like. I'd certainly forgotten what it felt like. I'd forgotten the rush, the buzz and the absolute freedom that you get from being out on a bike. I had a GoPro in the drawer for a while with the intention of starting a YouTube channel, but when I filmed this first ride, it was after spending a month more or less indoors, feeling sorry for myself and just dealing with all the emotions that come with having lost someone or something that means the absolute world to you. It's funny, I can remember the exact moment that I realised for the last half an hour or so I'd forgotten about everything else. All the noise, the thoughts in my brain were just gone like that, and it took probably the most difficult chapter of my life to get to that point. That was the moment that I fell back in love with biking.
You try and you're battling life, it's constantly bringing you down. I can see that you're working things out.
This movie was shot 1 month after I lost my best friend. His name was Wilson, and he'd been my soulmate and companion for the last 12 years. It all happened very quickly. One Friday evening he suddenly became very ill, and by the Monday morning he was gone. I can't remember much about the 4 weeks that followed. Life went on, but it seemed as if somehow the volume and the colour had been turned right down. The days went by, but I didn't really know it. I didn't eat much, didn't sleep much. I didn't feel much apart from this huge emptiness. All I could think about was what I'd lost. It felt as if everything had changed, maybe forever. Then one morning, whilst mindlessly scrolling through social media, I saw a picture of a guy riding a motorbike through a forest, and I realised I hadn't even thought about my bike for the last few weeks. I decided right then that I would go for a ride, and I knew exactly where I wanted to go.
Can't stand, no matter how hard you try. You're wearing down every bone, but only just getting by. In my mind, there's nothing else you can do. The world is filled with color, all you ever see is blue. I can see that it's wearing you down, and I know when you pick yourself off of the ground. You were constantly working things out, and you do without making a sound. You try and you're battling life. It's constantly bringing you down. I can see that you're working things out. It's a fine line between seeing that you need a new start, changing everything that you are, just to find your way through the dark. I can see that it's wearing you down, and I know when you pick yourself off the ground.
As I pulled up into my first stop, I realised that for the last 2 hours I hadn't thought about anything but the ride. I hadn't thought about the grief or the loss, only the road, the wind, the noise and the scenery. You see, that's the thing with riding a motorcycle. It helps you forget. It clears your mind and brings your senses back to life during those times when you've forgotten what it's like to feel alive. It brings you back to the present, to what's happening right now. Very rarely does your mind wander when it's focused on taking in all the information it needs to be able to send signals to your hands and your feet to keep you on two wheels, keep your shiny side up. The realisation that, for a while at least, my mind had been free, well, it brought a wave of guilt, that my focus was no longer on Wilson. I felt like I was betraying him and his memory. But then, when he was still around and I went out for a ride, I didn't think of him then either, so I told myself it was okay to forget for a while. As I sat there thinking and drinking coffee, I thought of all the people I'd lost over the years, family and friends, and it made me realise that life goes on. It just has to. Time keeps ticking. You just can't stop it until it stops for you. But then I was thinking of him again. You know, that thump in your chest you get when something terrible comes into your head and then buries itself in the pit of your stomach. I tried my best to embrace the feeling, knowing it was something that I just had to feel in order to be able to move on. I had to go through it to be able to get past it. I'd really needed to be away from home for a while, just to try and put some distance between me and the memories of the last 12 years. But after an hour or so, I just couldn't stop thinking about him. I just couldn't switch this feeling off, so I decided it was time to ride again and try and forget.
Start to fray and loosen off. You cry, you cry. Every tear's a wasted drop. Don't need the ropes to hold you up. Don't cry, oh, please don't cry.
pulled up beside a lake for my last stop before I headed home, I realised that my mind had been clear again. It wasn't about forgetting forever. It was just about giving my mind time to rest. It's like any wound, I guess. You have to rest it for it to heal. And spending time out there alone on my bike gave my grief the time it needed to rest and to start to heal. And for a while there, I almost felt free again. And I knew that this was the way to recover, to get out and ride. And that was the exact moment I fell back in love with biking.